Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new. In this video I'm going to go through a brief summary of how I created my Greek mythological children's chapter book series and how I managed to bring My Little Owl to life. There are 6 books in this chapter book series and I'm going to talk you through how I sort of came up with the idea, how I published it, and just a general timeline so that hopefully it will help any of you out there who want to create your own children's chapter book series. So I first came up with the idea for my book shortly after I had my first child in 2015. I wasn't sure whether I wanted to write a chapter book or a picture book, but I knew that I wanted it to be something to do with Greek mythology because I love Greek mythology and that was what my previous fiction books had been about. And so I did loads of research, reading lots of children's books, reading lots of Greek mythology books, and then I came up with the idea of My Little Owl and how he was going to go on some kind of adventure in ancient Greece, and I started writing the first book. So my plan in the back of my mind was to make the book into a series, purely because a lot of children's books do much better when they are a series, when they're not just one standalone book. So I had an idea that I wanted to do maybe 3 or 4 books. In the end it turned out to be 6, but I had a plan of where my owl wanted to go and sort of roughly where he might end up. So I wrote the first book quite quickly. As it is a chapter book, it's not excessively long. I think my first book had about 8 or 10 chapters in it, and there's about 4 to 5 pages within each chapter. So they're not long, they can be written quickly once you've got the idea in place. But then I actually spent quite a long time sending the book to various writer friends I had. I had a couple of friends who worked in publishing, not in children's publishing or mainstream book publishing, or sort of other for other publishing companies. And I decided that I would give the traditional publishing route a chance. I'll probably go into another video about that, but it didn't work out for lots and lots of different reasons. And I had actually self-published 3 previous books, so I knew the process already. And in the end, I decided that I wanted complete control over my children's chapter book. I wanted to do all the illustrations and everything else and market it myself, so I decided to go down that route. So the first thing I needed to do was to format my book properly so that I could then use Amazon KDP to publish my book. Now the easiest way to do this is to actually go onto Amazon KDP and download one of their blank manuscript templates in the correct size that you want for your book. That's the easiest thing to do, because then you can actually type up your book and it's already in a format that is ready for you to then export into a PDF and upload straight onto their website. So I used a template in Microsoft Word to write and format all 6 books in my series. There are lots of programs you can use now to write up and format your books. I know that a lot of people use Canva. It's whatever suits you the best. When all the writing was done and it had all been looked at by an editor and formatted properly, I then decided to move on to the illustrations. You can of course hire an illustrator, they can be quite expensive, and then they also have obviously some rights to your book. I wanted to do it all by myself, so I spent a lot of time researching pencil illustrations in other chapter books, and I decided to go down that route, keeping it very simple. I am not an artist. I think I can draw to an okay standard, but I really wanted to do the whole book myself, and I spent a lot of time on my illustrations, possibly more time on the illustrations than actually writing the book in the end. But because I was creating a chapter book series where the illustrations didn't necessarily have to be in colour and they could be more simple, that really suited me. So once all of those were done, I simply used my phone to take pictures of my illustrations with like a really nice background light, so they were really nice and bright, and I imported them into Photoshop, made them a bit lighter, and then I imported them into my already formatted book. And then after that I exported everything into a PDF file ready to upload. Whilst this was all going on, I was also researching cover designs for my book. Now, I knew that this had to be really important. Children's chapter books have to have an amazing front cover. Children are very visual. They want something that really entices them. So I did a lot of research and I finally found an amazing illustrator. I emailed her, we discussed what I wanted, we came up with some sketches, and then she created this absolutely fantastic front cover, and then all my other front covers after that. I will of course leave all her details down below for you as well. We also designed the back covers, which are equally important as the front covers. They contain the blurb, which is the first thing that people read when they want to buy a book. So that all came together really nicely. So after writing, illustrating, editing, formatting, and getting the front cover done, I finally self-published the first book in the series at the end of 2019. I then published the next two in 2020 and the final three all in 2021. If you are publishing a series of books, I do think that it's quite a good idea to get them all out there quite quickly, just so that people don't lose interest and so that they know there is another book coming and they are looking forward to it and are going to buy it and so on. So for anyone who is completely new to self-publishing and Amazon KDP, I'm going to quickly hop onto their website to show you how you can upload your book ready to publish. So you can pick from paperback or Kindle ebook. I went for a paperback and it brings you to this page. This is where all your book details need to go, your title, any subtitle, who the author is, the blurb, and so on. You can change all of this whilst you're editing it, but once you hit publish, you cannot then go back and change the title or the author name. So make sure you do all that correctly before you hit publish. You want a really nice description of the story because that is going to entice readers to buy your book. Then they have various other points that you need to tick. I will go through this maybe in a longer video. There are lots of tutorials out there that you can go on to check all this information. The categories are important. You do want to get your book into the right category so that it just shows up on the correct listings. So obviously mine's a children's book, so I ticked the children's book category. You can pick 3 categories and subcategories here. So just try and make sure that it fits to what your books are about. And if you're creating a series, there will be an option where you can add each new title to your series of books. After you've done that, you then need to add some keywords. You can add a number of words in each box. Again, they need to be related to your book. Save and continue. That then takes you to the next page, which is all about sort of the interior bits of your book, so the content or whatever. You can get a free KDP ISBN number. You can also buy your own. Again, I'm not going to go into that in this video. You want to make sure the sizing is correct, whether you need it to bleed or not. That depends on your illustrations inside the book and what kind of cover you want, whether that's matte or glossy or whatever. Make sure you're choosing the correct book size. I just went for the easy 6x9. Upload your manuscript, upload your cover file, whether it's got any AI in it, and then you can preview your book. So I'm going to quickly show you what that looks like here. I've uploaded my cover. Click Launch Preview. This can take absolutely ages, but it will finally lead you to a page that looks like this, and then you can go through your entire book. On the left it says Quality Check. It will let you know if there are any issues with your book, and then you can hit Approve. Once you've saved that, it then takes you on to the paperback rights and pricing. You want to check the all territories worldwide rights, and then you can decide on the price of your book and whether you want 70%, 60% royalty or 40%. Again, please do your research on all of that to make sure you know what you're doing. You can request a proof, and once you've checked it, you can then publish your book. So that's exactly what I did. The next step is then, of course, marketing and promoting your book. I would say that I also promoted and marketed my books before I'd even published them. That's a good way to kind of generate interest, and hopefully people will want to read your books as soon as they're out. So I have a page on my website all about my books. I also have videos on my YouTube channel about my books, Instagram, and so on. I've promoted my books through local magazines, local newspapers. I've been into schools. I've sold my books at fairs. You can do however much promotion you want to, and it really is a never-ending process, no matter how many years have passed since you published the book. So there you go, guys. That was, in a nutshell, how I created and published my entire children's chapter book series. I really hope this short video was helpful. If you have any questions, please do comment below. And I really hope this inspired you to maybe start your own children's series. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and happy reading!